While there may not always be a biological connection, a family can be simply a group of individuals who care for, love, and trust one another, regardless of legal or formalized relationships. In the gay world, it is common for friends to become your core family. Friends are the first people we lean on through accomplishments and hardships.
In this episode, we visit with one of our own producers, Izzy Mora, and a member of his found family, Eduardo Bouché. The two have maintained a friendship for 31 years. Over the course of their friendship, they have shared a home, their triumphs and trials. Like most families, they have faced changes together, lived apart, yet grown up together. Today, they once again share a home and tell us about their family. Izzy, Eduardo, welcome.
Thank you.
So tell us about the moment that you all started your friendship. What is that moment when you all first met that sparked something inside of each of you that said, this person could be my friend?
We worked at Southwest AIDS Committee, and I had gone to the initial Halloween costume party, and I was dressed like one of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the silver devil with the silver paint and that kind of thing.
I can see it.
And Eduardo was a radical fairy.
That's true.
Tell him what
To
a
this
radical
day.
Tell him what a radical fairy is, because it's really cool.
So it's a group that started back in the 70s, and it was a radical group, queer, and they spiritual, political, sexual, a radical group of gay men, not LGBTQ. The idea is they dress as fairies, beard and hairy legs, but mainly it was a spiritual group, and I was one of them. And it was a lot of fun. Imagine me, a little bit younger, with a tutu, and I don't know, wearing cowboy boots or and crazy hair and crazy makeup. Oh, Converse! I was wearing. Okay.
Yes.
And put it in context. What year are we talking about?
93.
In 1993. Okay, wow, that's great.
I believe you had wings.
Oh yes.
You had fairy wings
yes,
and a wand.
Yeah. So,
I love this. I love the visual. I can just see that now.
And a rainbow-colored tie-dyed shirt.
Cool.
With a tutu.
Dyed by me.
Well, when I came in, I was a young person. It was kind of when grunge just starting. Red Hot Chili Peppers were famous, and I had a crush on Anthony Kiedis, of course. And so I decided to do that. I was going to go into my new job. That was my introduction to work. I hadn't even started. That was they said, well, we're having this party before you start. We want you to meet the staff. It'll be a good place for you to do that. So I decided, because I'm young and dumb, to show up covered in silver paint and combat boots painted silver and the whole thing with horns and that kind of thing, and they're playing disco music, and Eduardo loved disco music, like old 1970s disco. They were playing that, and Eduardo starts twirling. He's like, Izzy, catch me. And I was I didn't know what to do. It was I was trying to be still prim and proper, and he does this backdrop into my arms with his leg kicked up in the air. And I knew then.
The culture of Southwest AIDS Committee, it was very forwardly gay, and there are a lot of queers on staff, and it was very frank discussions about homosexuality. And you had to be, because of the services that you all provided in the community that you were serving.
It was ideal. It was an ideal place to work if you were gay, because you could be gay. I mean, it's that was a plus there, because you were with the gay community, so you needed people that understood the community. God, so El Paso for us we're a special case, because we're gay men and we have a very small gay community, and we only hang out at very specific places. So there's no escaping. You see, I party at the same places. We work at the same place. So we sometimes went to the same parties. Yeah, sometimes we would run into each other at the bars. Or we would...
Yeah, we know the same age group too, right? It's because it's the same kind of engagement you're doing.
Although esta es mi hermana la mayor. She's my older sister.
Okay.
Those are lies.
Let's get that clarify that.
That's not mayor. She's
Nothing but lies.
but so our job was to go to the bars, to hand out condoms, to talk to people, to be involved with the community, which is our community, So we would go to the bars to do the HIV testing, to draw blood there, and we were the team. I would go and get the people, kind of like guide them towards where Izzy was, and Izzy would be drawing blood and stuff. So after that, we would party, so, you know. So
Not at the same time.
no, off the clock.
I know.
It was like that, you know. By 11, we would be done, and then and then we became roommates.
How quickly had it been that you all decided to become roommates?
Was it less than a year, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
Wow.
Eduardo.
You must be part lesbian.
Yeah. Well, you know, Eduardo was moving out of. He was unhappy with his renter.
With my roommate, another co-worker, and she was crazy as fuck, crazier than I am, crazier. Which is a lot to say. I won't say her name. And she was totally deranged. Great woman, but totally fucking deranged. And we got along great, but it just, there was no chemistry.
Yeah, and I was living in this basement apartment in the Lower Valley, and it was huge and it had 2 rooms and stuff like that. And Eduardo said, well, you know, let me just drop some stuff off, you know, and for a little bit, and until I find another place, and then, you know, you just click, and it just clicked, and I just kept thinking, you know, I don't want him to leave. I don't want him to go, you know. So I came in. I was like, you know, would be really cool if you stay, you know. And that's the way that happened.
And we pretty much haven't been apart since those days.
When did you really develop the familial bond? When is it that you thought, you know what, this is beyond friendship, this is a more profound relationship?
Well, at the time, Absolutely Fabulous was just on the air.
Yeah.
And we were both really big fans. And I remember that we had already started becoming, you know, very familiar. We were always together and that kind of stuff. And even the staff, you know, Eduardo had started to refer to me as his daughter. Sometimes it would
that'll do it.
Sometimes it would be his bitch daughter, you know. And, so we had this big long play acting in front of our coworkers, you know, and our friends, you know, about how he would leave me at home to feed myself, you know, kind of like Sappy, you know, while he was out with men, and you know that kind of thing. And so this thing just developed.
Did you find yourself in a little bit of a motherly role with Izzy, or was that just for fun?
It's for fun, but I am very motherly for sure. I am very, very motherly. With Izzy, with a lot of people, I immediately want to, like, somebody has a call, I'll figure out some brujeria to hierbas of it, que se te baje el catarro, whatever, things like that. And
I think you're a natural caregiver.
I think so.
For
sure.
Now I'm a granny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but you're more sage.
Yes.
Let's talk about the periods of time where you all spent some time apart. And I know that there were some periods of time, maybe, you know, family calls or some other things came across, or relationships. But tell us a little bit about that.
Periodically, Eduardo would come, because he was living back in Juarez, and would come into town, and we would hang out. It would be a great time. It would be like nothing ever changed. That's one of the true signs of a good friendship, is that it doesn't miss a beat. You know, the times we were apart and we see each other again, it's like click right in, like, you know, the notches go into place, and it's same thing that we have always had. So you know that's genuine, you know that's authentic, and that was always like the coolest thing. When you find that with somebody, that's, I mean, astounding.
Even beyond romantic relationships, you know, I mean, because, I mean, especially when we were all younger, you know, we'd date a myriad of men, sometimes the same.
Yes.
It'd be passed around like a joint at a Rastafarian party. But talk about that. I mean, when either of you were dating somebody or in a relationship, and how you would check in with each other, talk a little bit about that.
I think some of them did have a problem with our friendship. Yeah, because Izzy and I never been involved romantically. We've always been friends or a family, and so there is an obvious bond that is. Now that we talk about it, it's pretty tangible. So I think they partners or tricks or whatever you want to call them perceive that, and they also have problems with how horrible we are when we're together. That was probably more than the other one or both, but that was also a big problem because we get along great and we understand each other. Sometimes we know what we're thinking, and and it's always a lot of fun, and we can be horrible, like disgusting and nasty, and that's not appreciated.
It's hard for people to believe that two gay men can be such good friends. That's a standard that everybody thinks. Yeah, surely you must have slept with each other.
Right.
That's just something they assume and or want to believe. And so I had young lovers who thought these things, and I thought, no, that's family.
And age does have a lot to do with that.
What you've been asking us and what we were saying is that we can more about family. So much so that our families, our blood families, accepted us. Like, my family loves Izzy. My mom is just like, was totally in love with him, and so are my cousins. And we would go to Juarez and hang out there, and I would go to his parents' house for holidays, and I just love his mom. His mom would send me salsa, I would send her salsa. So I get along with his sister. So that's how close we were. We would sometimes we would go and party in Juarez, and we would be so wasted that we would have, well, let's stay here, and then but the next time my mom would have this breakfast for us, like for the hangover with a quart of beer.
Wow.
To drink with the breakfast, so kind of a heal.
His mother was beautiful in that way. She was so welcoming. I mean, and all of his family was like that towards me. All of his cousins were just beautiful. And when I was talking to my sister yesterday, I was talking about, Eduardo and I are going to do this episode for Queer Onda, and it's about being family. She's like, that's perfect.
See, your natural family. We talked about this. Armistead Maupin, the author of Tales of the City and other books since then, makes a distinction. I think he really kind of promoted the phrase logical family as opposed to biological family. But it's wonderful when the two intermingle. Like when your biological family, in this case your sister, recognizes the bond that you share with Eduardo in your logical family. I'm going to ask you all, as we're kind of wrapping things up, there's a couple of things that I want to go back to. One is that we were talking about Absolutely Fabulous, the show, and the Patsy and Edina, the comparison is just far too great not to mention. First of all, you all both physically, and particularly back in the time, the early 90s, I remember you all fitting that role perfectly. But I have to say that almost every gay man that at that time was either a Patsy or an Edina.
Yes.
And I was a fellow Edina, Eduardo. Mostly because of my physicality, and we were all booze hounds, let's face it.
Oh,
absolutely.
But you all tell this story, and I believe that you all, and please take it from me, but you all at a fundraiser or an event at the Marriott, and you all were having a good time, and then things became very absolutely fabulous. Tell me.
Oh my God, that was crazy. That's the one. If you're thinking about the one I'm thinking,
the fact that could have happened more than once is amazing.
Good point. They're like, could you narrow it down more?
The tree, the tree.
With the girls from Adelante, the queens from Adelante. That's the place.
Yes.
Yeah, that was. Well, you tell this story.
Okay, well, this Adelante was a gay social group, and they had this awards banquet called the Stonewall.
And I'll say something to color the story about that. And this is my opinion. It's not real. Okay, they could be insufferable sometimes. They're a little bit uptight. Only professional people, and so that was part of their. We are very professional, and all of us are so we behave professionally. And
no, we didn't. So we showed up already kind of tanked, and we were walking in late because I'm late everywhere I go usually. We were late and walking in, and just having had a good time, and we were dressed up and everything. And Eduardo always carried a bag, a purse, that kind of thing, and full of all of his stuffs and things, and usually hippie bohemian looking kind of thing. And
that he means beer.
Yes. And we were walking because we were late. We were like the show had started, or the presentations had started. We're walking to find our table, and at the Marriott they had these huge fake trees in pots, and so Eduardo was walking in front of me, and and I was kind of traipsing behind in my in sobriety, and his bag, his very heavy bag with whatever was in it, hit this tree that was not in very good shape already to begin with, and it kind of toppled over. And so I catch it, while everybody's in this banquet, being professional, and I'm holding this tree like, oh my God, just tottering around like a weeble wobble with this gigantic fake palm trees in my arms, Eduardo very happily runs and sits down and sees me trying to stand this thing up, and then then of course, and somebody I think from the organization said, "Did you have to make a scene like that?"
Because he was during the keynote address, I think. I won't tell you who was starting, or maybe it was the master ceremonies. I won't tell you who it was, but it was a very annoying queen, and she was like, presenting, and everybody turns, and I'm here like walking with my purse, and I hear the thing of like, and I sit, but everybody turns, so he stopped talking because there's this commotion there, and then Izzy was watching and I'm there just sitting smoking, pretending it wasn't me.
I mean, that to me was the perfect Patsy Edina, Izzy, Eduardo story.
You're wild girls.
Honestly, of all my friends, you all have the best stories because you somehow, the chemistry between you two and the situations you would find yourselves in, like those stories you just shared, are remarkable. They really are, Patsy and Edina.
We've been with each other for, in good times, in pretty bad times too.
Yes.
We've been with each other when our parents died and passed away. So Izzy doesn't drink. I don't drink either, or rarely. I only drink once a year. So when that happens, your friends from that time kind of like, it's not like they hate you, it's just, well, this is what we do, and you don't do it, so,
The connections.
Yeah, exactly. And in my case, I used to be a kind of like a fixture of the gay community, and then I stopped going to bars, and I stopped going, to, gay events. So Izzy's always been my connection with, to be with somebody who's gay. So that keeps me gay, if you will. Which I want to. That I don't want to lose that. I want to.
As you grow and change, your friend grows and changes also. So he quit drinking before me, but when I quit drinking, what a relief it is to have somebody who doesn't.
Right.
Yeah. That was a really good thing, and that was a struggle for me. One of the biggest bonds about the intellectual aspect that I'm talking of is that we're able to view ourselves as gay people, and through conversations, and we develop ideas, just when you're in the kitchen or something and you talk about things, and I get so many inspired things from what Eduardo says to me, or bouncing things off of him, that it's friendship and a tie that continues to be fruitful, continues to work and develop and grow. If you're able to find a friend like that, that's pretty priceless.
Well, thank you all very much for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your vision, a window into your family. Patsy, Edina, Izzy, Eduardo.
Yeah.
Thank you, and happy Pride.
Thank you, guys. Happy Pride. At least Pride.
And yeah, cheers. Thanks a lot.
Join us every Saturday during Pride Month as our spotlight on queer families continues. Available wherever you download your podcasts or on our website, www.queeronda.com. That's www.queeronda.com.
We'd love to hear from you. Email us at feedback@queeronda.com or visit our website and leave a comment. www.queeronda.com. That's www.queeronda.com.
For a list of all Pride events during the month of June, visit queeronda.com.